All right, getting ready for a mine surveying technician interview. We're going deep with RoleCatcher's resources to help you really stand out. We've got their career guide, their interview guide, and even a peek into their AI platform.
Yeah, think of it like leveling up your prep. We'll break down common interview questions, bring in some real-world career insights, and show you how RoleCatcher's AI can make your answers seriously impressive.
So before we jump into the questions, let's set the scene. What does a mine surveying technician actually do?
Well, the career guide tells us they're the ones mapping out the mine, making sure everything's safe and everything runs smoothly, both above ground and below.
So both in the office and out in the field.
Exactly. You're using high-tech equipment, total stations, GPS, even drones are changing how things are done. And then it's back to the office to make sense of all that data.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. But let's get down to business. The interview itself. They'll probably start with something like, what inspired you to pursue a career in mine surveying? That's question one from the interview guide.
It's all about your why. They don't just want to see your skills, but your real motivation. What makes you tick? Are you drawn to the problem solving, the tech, the mix of outdoors and office work? Let that enthusiasm show.
Yeah, dig deep. Think back to maybe a project that got you interested or a mentor who inspired you, or maybe you're just fascinated by the whole idea of mapping out what's hidden beneath the Earth's surface.
Exactly. They want to see that spark. Now, let's get a little more specific. Question 2 asks about your experience with surveying equipment. So this is your chance to show off those technical skills you've got.
But the guide really stresses that you shouldn't just list equipment. You've got to paint a picture of how you've actually used it.
Right, so instead of saying, I'm familiar with total stations, give them a real example. I used a total station to conduct a topographic survey for a construction project, something concrete.
So be specific and give context to your skills. Now, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze job descriptions to help you really tailor these answers, right?
It's true. It picks up on keywords and phrases, so you're not just showing your skills, you're showing how you fit their needs specifically.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to question 3, which is getting into the heart of the job. How do you ensure the accuracy of your surveying data? That seems pretty crucial in this line of work.
Accuracy is everything. It's not just double checking. It's about understanding the impact of errors, having a systematic approach to quality control, calibration, using control points, having a good grasp of error analysis.
You know, it would be really powerful here if you could share a real-life example of a time when accuracy was absolutely crucial.
Oh, absolutely. I remember working on a tunnel expansion project. The data showed this tiny discrepancy, just a few millimeters off. Easy to overlook, but something felt off.
So what did you do?
I dug deeper, rechecked my calculations, and I found a small misalignment in the initial setup. We were just slightly off.
And what would happen if you hadn't caught that?
Well, if we had used that flawed data, it would have led to major misalignments during construction, potentially even structural issues, costly rework, maybe even safety hazards.
Wow. So that tiny error could have had huge consequences. It's a perfect example of why attention to detail is so important in this role. Okay, let's tackle question 4. Have you ever encountered a problem or obstacle while conducting a mine survey? How did you resolve it? Everyone faces challenges, so how do you show them you can handle it?
It's about showing your problem-solving process. You know, the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Lay it all out.
The guide gives this example. A technician finds inconsistent readings in an underground tunnel. He thinks maybe the equipment's malfunctioning, so he recalibrates, compares data with previous surveys.
And what makes it effective is that it highlights those transferable skills. Initiative, analytical thinking, commitment to accuracy. Those are qualities any employer would value.
It's not just about the specific task, it's about the underlying skills. All right, question 5 is about staying current with technology. How do you stay up to date with the latest technology and techniques in mine surveyings? I imagine that's a fast-moving field.
It absolutely is. And the guide mentions, professional organizations like the NSPS industry publications.
But to really impress them.
You got to go beyond that. Do you follow specific software developers? Are you in online forums? Have you taken workshops on new tech? Show them you're actively engaged, not just reading passively.
So show them you're on the cutting edge. Now, time management, that's crucial in any job, but especially in a fast-paced environment like mining. Question 6 asks, how do you prioritize and manage your workload as a mine surveying technician?
This is about more than just to-do lists. Think about the strategies that apply to this specific role. How do you communicate with engineers to make sure things are done on time? How do you prioritize tasks based on project phases?
So instead of saying, I'm organized, give them a picture. I use this project management app to track deadlines, coordinate with the engineering team, make sure surveys are done in sync with the project milestone.
Exactly. Show a proactive, collaborative approach. Those are valuable assets on any team.
Now, for anyone with more advanced expertise, questions 7 and 8 are where you shine. What experience do you have working with 3D modeling software? And what experience do you have with mind planning and design?
If you've got the experience, name the specific software, describe your skills, talk about any mind planning or design projects you've worked on, the impact you made.
What if you don't have a ton of experience in those areas? Should you just skip the question?
Not at all. Express that you're eager to learn. Mention any relevant courses or training you've done. Show that growth mindset. Employers love that.
That's encouraging. And this ties back into RoleCatcher's AI. It can analyze these questions and help tailor your responses, even if you don't have direct experience, right?
Exactly. It might suggest related skills that show your potential. It's about showing that you're capable and ready to contribute.
Awesome. So we've tackled 8 key questions. What's next? Where does RoleCatcher's AI fit into all of this?
Think of RoleCatcher's AI as your secret weapon. It's not just about providing these targeted questions. It can help you actually craft the best answers.
Okay, give me an example. How does that work?
Say you're using their CV resume builder. You put in the job description you're going for, and the AI analyzes it. It figures out the key skills and experience they're after.
So it's like having a personal expert suggesting what to emphasize for each job.
Exactly. It makes your resume more than just a list. It makes it speak directly to what they need. And it's not just resumes.
There's more.
You've got the interview practice feature. It's like having a mock interview with a coach. You record yourself answering questions.
Like I'm making a video.
Exactly. Then the AI analyzes it. It gives you feedback on your content, your delivery, even your body language.
Hold on. It can analyze my body language from a video.
It uses these advanced algorithms to see things like eye contact, posture, hand gestures.
Things you might not even realize you're doing.
Exactly. And it gives you specific tips. Maybe you need to pause more or use stronger examples.
That's amazing. It's like a virtual coach in your pocket. So you've got these targeted questions from the interview guide, and then the AI helps you perfect your answers and practice your delivery.
It's about giving you every advantage.
So are you ready to dig into the rest of these questions and really make those answers shine?
Let's do it. All right, picking up where we left off, safety is obviously a big deal in mining. But this next question, it's not just about knowing the rules, it's showing that safety is like part of how you think. Question 9 from the guide asks, how do you ensure compliance with safety regulations and protocols in your surveying work?
So it's more than just saying, I always wear my hard hat. What are they getting at here?
They want to see that you get the potential hazards, that you're proactive, not just reacting when something happens. Remember that section in the career guide, the work environment?
Right, talking about extreme weather, rough terrain, working near all that heavy equipment.
Exactly. So you could talk about the safety protocols you've followed, religiously using your PPE, doing risk assessments before every survey, knowing those emergency procedures.
And what about going above and beyond? Would that impress them?
Absolutely. Think about those times you noticed something that could be unsafe and you flagged it for your supervisor. Or maybe you even helped set up a new safety procedure that made things better for everyone.
Shows you're not just following rules, you're really invested in keeping things safe.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I'm kind of curious, how do you even prepare for a question like this? It's not like you can memorize a perfect answer.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. With their interview practice thing, you record yourself answering this question and the AI analyzes your response.
So it's not just giving sample answers, it's actually giving you feedback on your approach.
Exactly. It can tell you if you're hitting the key points, if you're giving enough detail, even if your tone, your body language is sending the right message. It's like having a virtual interview coach.
That's wild. Okay, so safety's covered. What other tricky questions pop up in a mine surveying technician interview?
One that often gets people is those dealing with a tough situation questions. Like, imagine you're on a survey and the data is just not making sense. Maybe the equipment's acting up or the conditions are terrible. How do you handle that?
So they literally ask, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult situation on a survey.
Maybe. Or it might be more open-ended, like what are some big challenges you faced and how'd you overcome them? Either way, it's about showing you can think on your feet.
Right. Stay calm, troubleshoot the problem, find that solution.
Exactly. And here's another chance to use that STAR method we talked about. Describe the situation, what your role was, what you did, and the outcome.
And highlight those key skills that helped you succeed. Problem solving, communication, being adaptable.
It all ties back into showing those transferable skills. It's not just about knowing how to use the tools, it's about applying your knowledge no matter what comes up.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier about showcasing those transferable skills.
Yeah.
It's not just about the specific equipment, it's about being able to adapt and use your skills in all kinds of situations.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you figure out what those skills are. It looks at your experience and picks out those skills that really matter for the jobs you're going for, even if you learned them doing something else.
So even if I haven't worked as a mine surveying technician before, it can connect the dots between what I have done and what's needed for this role.
Exactly. It's all about showing your potential, that you've got what it takes to succeed in this new environment.
That's super helpful. So we've talked about safety, problem solving, those transferable skills. What else should someone really focus on when they're prepping for a mine surveying technician interview?
Teamwork. It's easy to overlook, but while you'll have times working solo, mine surveying is really collaborative. You'll be working hand in hand with engineers, geologists, the whole team.
Okay, so how do you show you're a team player? Is it just saying, I work well with others?
Gotta go deeper than that. Give specific examples. Think about times you've nailed it working with others, maybe a project at work, volunteering, even team sports, whatever.
What should you highlight in those examples?
Focus on those skills that make teamwork work. Communication, collaboration, being able to handle conflicts, really listening to others, and contributing your own expertise while respecting everyone's ideas.
So instead of saying, I'm a good communicator, you might say, on this project, I had to explain a really technical concept to people who weren't technical. I used clear language, visuals, really listened to their questions, made sure everyone understood.
Perfect example. It shows you can communicate clearly, especially when working with people from different backgrounds.
Now, I know we've been drilling down on these specific questions, but what about the big picture, the overall impression you make? Any general tips for standing out in a good way?
Good point. The interview is not just about the answers. It's about showing you're professional, you're engaged. So dress right, be on time, be polite to everyone.
What about body language? We touched on that with the interview practice feature, but any key things to remember during the real deal?
Eye contact. Sit up straight. Don't fidget. It all shows confidence that you're paying attention. And smile. A genuine smile goes a long way.
It's amazing how much those little things matter. Now, before we move on, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher's AI. We've talked about the CV builder and the interview practice, but there's one more tool that's super valuable for anyone starting their career.
You're talking about the career compass, right?
Bingo. Tell me more. How can that help someone navigate the world of mine surveying?
It's like your personal career guide. Helps you explore different paths within mine surveying, figure out what skills you need to move up, and make a plan to reach your goals.
So it's not just about landing the job, it's about understanding what's possible long term.
Exactly. It looks at your skills, your experience, matches you with career paths that fit your interests, gives you insights on industry trends, salaries, what education you need for different roles.
That's so helpful, like having a mentor guiding you through the whole thing.
It's about giving you the power to take control of your career, make smart choices that'll make you happy and successful.
Now, I know we've been focused on the technical stuff, but I think it's important to talk about the personal qualities that make a great mine surveying technician.
Definitely. Beyond the technical know-how, there are those personality traits, those soft skills that make you thrive.
What are some of the key ones?
Well, first off, you gotta love problem solving. Mine surveying is all about finding solutions to these tricky challenges, often in unpredictable places.
And what about attention to detail? I imagine that's critical when you're dealing with precise measurements and data analysis.
Absolutely. Accuracy is paramount in this role. Even a small error can have significant consequences. So you need to be meticulous and take pride in getting it right.
What about communication skills? We touched on teamwork, but I imagine clear communication is key in any technical field.
You're spot on. You need to be able to communicate effectively with engineers, geologists, and other team members, both verbally and in writing.
So it's not just about knowing the technical jargon, it's about explaining complex things in a way that anyone can understand.
Exactly. It's not just about giving information, it's also about actively listening, asking clarifying questions, and ensuring that everyone's on the same page.
Now, I'm curious, have you ever come across someone who had all the technical skills, but they just couldn't succeed because they lacked those soft skills?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen brilliant technicians who struggled to work effectively in teams or communicate their ideas clearly. And it can hold them back, no matter how talented they are technically.
That's a great point. It shows how important it is to develop those soft skills alongside the technical expertise. Now, before we wrap up this segment, I want to touch on one more important aspect of the interview process: asking questions.
Asking good questions. Great way to show you're genuinely interested in the role in the company. It shows you've done your homework and you're really thinking about the opportunity.
So what kind of questions should you ask? Is it okay to ask about salary and benefits?
It's usually best to hold off on those until later in the process, but it's totally fine to ask about the company culture, the team you'd be working with, the chances for professional development.
And what about questions about the specific projects or challenges you'd be facing?
Excellent questions to ask. It shows you're eager to learn and thinking about how you can make a difference. You could ask things like, what are some of the biggest challenges the team is facing right now? Or what exciting projects are on the horizon?
I like those. Asking good questions not only helps you get more info, but also leaves a good impression. Shows you're engaged, you're curious.
Exactly. And don't be shy about taking notes during the interview. It shows you're paying attention and that you value what they're saying.
Now, before we move on to our final segment, where we'll be getting into some strategies for using RoleCatcher's AI to craft those killer interview answers, I want to quickly go over what we've covered so far.
Good idea. Let's summarize. We talked about showing off your technical skills, highlighting your problem-solving abilities, emphasizing your transferable skills, and showing how much you value safety and teamwork.
And we talked about nonverbal communication, asking good questions, and being ready to share your why, what drives you to do this work.
We also explored how RoleCatcher's AI can be a huge help in your job search, from tailoring your resume and cover letter to practicing those interview answers and exploring different career paths.
Right. We've covered a lot, but there's more to come. In our last segment, we'll be diving into specific strategies for using RoleCatcher's AI to really make those answers stand out. We'll show you how to use the power of AI to showcase your unique strengths and experiences.
So stay with us. Okay, so we've talked a lot about what to expect in a mine surveying technician interview, but now let's get into how to really make those answers awesome using RoleCatcher's AI.
I'm ready. This AI stuff is pretty impressive. How does it work in practice?
Let's say it's that question about your experience with equipment. You plug the job description into RoleCatcher, and the AI gets to work. It analyzes the wording, figures out what they really care about.
So it's not just about listing every tool you've ever used. It's about making your answer fit what this employer is looking for.
Exactly. Maybe they're all about 3D laser scanning right now. The AI will pick up on that and suggest you highlight that experience, even if it wasn't your main thing before.
That's so smart. It's like having someone on the inside giving you tips. But what about those tougher questions, like that one about a problem you had on a survey? Can AI help with those?
That's where the interview practice feature is awesome. You record yourself answering, just like in a real interview. Then the AI checks it out. Not just what you say, but how you say it.
Wait, it can tell if you're explaining things well, not just the words themselves.
It can. It'll tell you if you're rambling, if you're using jargon they won't understand, if you're getting those key points across. It even analyzes your tone and body language.
No way. So even if I'm fidgeting or not making eye contact, it can see that on a video.
Yep. And the best part, it tells you how to improve. Maybe you need to pause more or give stronger examples.
Like a personal coach, giving you real-time feedback. That's incredible. But even with all this AI, some things you can't fake, right? You got to bring your own enthusiasm.
Absolutely. No tech can replace genuine passion. When you talk about your why you want this job, let that shine through.
The career guide mentions that, how interviewers want to see that spark. It's not just about checking boxes. It's about showing you're really into this work.
And don't forget, you're interviewing them too. Make sure this company's a good fit for you. So have good questions ready. Not just about salary, but about the team, the work, the company culture.
Shows you've done your research, that you're serious about the opportunity. Speaking of the future, the career guide hints that the role of a mine surveying technician is changing, right?
Big time. Automation is changing everything. More drones, 3D modeling is getting super advanced.
So knowing today's tools might not be enough. What skills will someone need in the future?
They'll need to be adaptable, fast learners, comfortable not just using technology, but understanding the data, troubleshooting when things break down.
Sounds like problem-solving skills will be even more important than ever.
Exactly. And those soft skills, communication, teamwork, thinking critically, those will always matter, no matter how much the tech changes.
This has been really insightful. A mine surveying technician interview, it's about so much more than just knowing the tools.
It really is. Technical skills, problem solving, safety, teamwork, it's all part of it. But with good prep and tools like RoleCatcher, you can absolutely ace that interview and have a great career in this field.
Well said. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. We covered the basics of what a mind surveying technician does, how to tackle those tough interview questions, and even got a glimpse into the future of the job.
Remember, the more you prepare, the more confident you'll be. Understand the role, research the company, practice your answers, and don't forget what RoleCatcher's AI can do to help you stand out.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.